the same. Only the names remain. Every day it seems we're wasting away. Every day the faces are so cold. I drive all night just to get back home. I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. I'm wanted, dead or alive. Wanted, dead or alive. Hey everybody, welcome to MT Guitar. Today we're doing Wanted, Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. Huge hit in the 80s. This was off their album Slippery When Wet from 1987, and it also had Living on a Prayer on it, which was obviously a massive hit as well. So huge album. This song, you don't have to use a 12 string to play it, but it's quite nice on this intro because you get that super high G string. But it sounds great on a 6 string as well. In fact, there's lyrics of with a 6 string on my back in the song, so that gives us license to use a 6 string on this. But a very fun riff to play, and I want to give a tour through this intro. This is just a great example of one way to learn the fretboard that may be a little bit not the most typical approach. Okay, here's what I mean. With a song like this, with a riff like this, there's really no vertical shapes happening here, all right? We're seeing intervals, in this case 6th intervals, going up and down the neck. So what you're doing really is playing each note of the scale on a single string. And so what that does is it forces you to see the guitar differently, melodically up and down the neck. If I know the D Dorian, this happens to be in Dorian right now, up and down the neck on each string, then I'm pretty good to go for these intervals. For instance, this, where the riff ends, if you just add 12 frets, I'm up to here, and that's of course where the guitar repeats. So that's just a D minor, a little slide down. And this is going from the 5th of the key and the flat 3rd of the key, just down a step from 5 to 4 and flat 3 to 2. From 4 to flat 3 and 2 to 1, see? So if I just know that, I can get all the way down. So just to go through this a little bit more succinctly here. 5 and flat 3, 4 and 9 or 2, flat 3 and 1, 2 and flat 7 and 5, 6 and 4, 5 and flat 3. So all the way down if I just know the scale. And combine that. Now when the song starts, we're in D major. I thought I was talking about D minor. Well, here's an example of modal mixture. We're pretty much in D major for all the singing, but we have some chords that are borrowed from the minor key, just like this riff is from the minor key. So here's the first example. C major is a flat 7 Roman numeral. It's not really in the key of D major. Although you could easily say this is Mixolydian so far, and I would totally buy that argument. This is just D Mixolydian, but we'll see in a bit. This is a 4 chord, so that's totally in the key of D major, but when it goes, that F chord is definitely not in the key of D major, right? We have an F sharp is our 3, so that's a flat 3. That's just directly being borrowed from the minor key. So some people would call this a borrowed chord. Modal mixture is the term I tend to use. It's basically the same stuff, right? Borrowed chords, modal mixture, you're borrowing from the minor key, and it usually goes in that direction. In a major key, you're borrowing from the minor key. In a minor key, you can borrow from the major key, but we don't see that quite as often. It tends to sound good using the minor. I mean, this is what the blues is based on, using minor pentatonic and minor blues scales over major chords. blues is all about modal mixture in many ways, and that's why rock songs are borrowing from that blues sort of tonality and borrowing from the minor key in your major songs. So that's something to think about as you play this song, because that's about it. We have the riff and the chord progression, and the chorus is actually very similar to the verse. So let's go ahead and jump on in, learn this. Go ahead and check out the Patreon, where there's a ton of tabs and resources to check out. And I really appreciate your support. Thanks to all the patrons there. It helps keeps this channel going. I really appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe and check out some other videos. Like, comment, and share with your friends. I really appreciate it. That being said, let's go ahead and jump on in. All right, so of course this amazing intro, we're going to cover it note for note. It's a true classic. So I was borrowing the 12 string that I was using for the demo, so I've returned that. So I'm going to prove right here, just by example, that the 6 string is an excellent substitute for a 12 string. You can play this part, obviously, with a regular acoustic. All right, so for the intro, we're going to be way up here at 14, 3rd string, and 13, 1st string, right? So that's actually a nice spread triad. It's very spread, but it's normally you'd see a spread triad like this for a D minor, like if it were up here, whereas this is an open D minor. One way to think of it. Okay, we do the pattern is basically this. It's okay. So I'm going 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd. So get that first, because this pattern will repeat for everything. 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, slide, and as you slide, hit the 4th again. That's the hard part. And the slide will be kind of quiet. That's okay. Doesn't need to be loud, because you're not hitting it again. You're only hitting it once. You're hitting it twice total, but you're hitting it here, sliding it as you hit the next string, which is the 4th string. So 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 4th. And as you hit the 4th, you slide. 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, slide. And then we keep going on our pattern, all right? So here, you slide to 12, and that's the 4th string that you just hit. 3rd, 1st on 12 and 12. 3rd string, slide to 10 and 10. Pattern continues. Hopefully this is making sense. 1st, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd. You guessed it, we slide again as we hit the open D string. This time to 9 and 8. 9th fret 3rd string, 8th fret 1st string. Right? Now we slide to 5 and 5. Then 4 and 3, and then things change. So let's cover that, and then I'll show you what we do there. It's a little tricky at the very end, as if it weren't tricky already. Here we go. 4th, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, slide. Now we're gonna hit it again instead of the 4th string and go slide. Well, that was a bad slide, but slide down to 2 and 1 from 4 and 3 and hit it twice. You can hit it with the open D string, in fact. So that would be O, 4, O, 3, right? Slide down to O2, O1, not even O, sorry, O4, mute 3 to O2, mute 1. This is why I'm kind of going slow, because this is tricky. So let's to do it accurately and correctly is not a given. All right, so we're going to do this all, and when we get here, we hit it twice. The first time sliding down, and that's it. Here we go. 3 and here we 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 1st, 10 and 10, 9 and 8, 5 and 5, 4 and 3. Here we go. Then we anticipate the D, okay, the D bass. So that's why I went up with my body, not just because I had a spasm necessarily, but I was trying to get that upbeat, right? So when you go 3 and 4, see, I hit the, it's kind of hard to say because you have to basically count out the beats to do that, but it would be in tempo 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, at a slower tempo, it's a bit harder to count out. 2, 3 and 4 and. See? Everything is exactly the same the second time except for that anticipated bass that I just did. Then we go into the riff. All right, let's cover that next. Really fun intro. Now we get basically the pre-work for the chorus. The chorus is going to be a variation of this riff, right? So we go open twice on the A string, third with a bend, not a big bend, but just something nice. 4th string open, 3rd fret, 4th string now with a slight bend, and then we land in a D sus. You don't even have to strum the 1st string though, just the first couple bass strings will do fine. Okay, so let's cover that. Again. Good. Now, you know, it doesn't really matter at this point as much, but the exact part would be, so it's rhythmically very important. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and straight into it 3 times. If you just want to fill time, sorry, normally you can. Last time, oops, hit the wrong thumb note there, but that was an F chord. After A string twice, you go F twice, D, and then we're ready for the verse. So an epic intro, a lot to take in. Why don't we take it from same place again, and just to make sure we're not going too fast, then we'll go into the verse and chorus, which is easier. So thank you for, taking the challenge here. I think the intro is usually always harder, but this is an extreme case of that, or an exaggerated case of the intro being tougher than the rest of the song. Luckily for us, though, this intro comes back as an interlude often. All right, so last time from this part, ready? 3. Wait, that's too slow, sorry. Here we go. 3 and 4. Second time, right? Here's the 3rd time. Last time, F twice, D. And then just like a strum or two to keep the time going. Now we go on D, and we're going to completely change the vibe. And in fact, I really like the sound of it on the 6th string because it's easier to play these cool lines on a 6th string. 12th string is hard. I mean, I was having trouble getting clarity with the hammer-ons on the pull-offs and stuff with a 12th string. Very tough. So, if we're on a 6th string, actually there's advantages to that. So we're going to go down, 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 up, 3-2 pull-off, O2 hammer-on with a down, down, up kind of thing. So it's like down, 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 up, 3-2, O2. We're going to go to a C, but it's this type of C with the, 3rd fret's first 2 strings. It's a C add 9. Okay, to a G, and obviously that move is nice and easy there. To that 4-finger G, and it's like a down, up, G. You can mute if you want. You can kind of just strum through it. Doesn't really matter. Now on O2 hammer, right? You're going to get that hammer on there. So it's like, that twice basically, right? Then a G, quick F, D major with an optional fill there. So the whole sort of phrase there would be 3 D, 1 up, down, a hammer, C, up, down, hammer, G, F, C, hammer, bam, pull off, hammer, C, then to G, hammer, C, then to G, hammer, G, F, D. Okay, now they're changing things slightly, ever so slightly every phrase, because that's what a good guitar track will do. It will have a breathing sort of living, dynamic thing to it, not to get over the top here, but the guitar part will constantly change, and you want to develop a vocabulary that's based off, first off, you kind of make sure you got the basics right. Now you can add strums or take them out as you choose. It's nice to learn the right part first. Not that it's right, but the recorded part, and then you can make your own variations. All right. Now, the chorus is very similar. So that's the verse twice, right, through that form. Then, right, we have I'm a cowboy. So C twice and kind of a mute there to G. And then, up, down, up, hammer. So cowboy. Now this time, no G, F. It's just straight to F to D. And it's kind of like a tense moment because it's like, steel horse, alright. He's changing keys there from F to D with an anticipation on the D. So it's kind of it's a tense moment there in the harmony, right? Things are shifting around. So let's cover that from the C, 3. I'm a cowboy on a steel horse, alright. See? Okay, so actually kind of tricky there. I found out the toughest part of the song. Not quite sure why, but I think it has to do with that. Now, C, repeat everything. This time, instead of the F, you go 303 D. So it's the end of the intro, right? Remember that part? So that would be 303 D sus. Or not even D sus, it's just actually D, I'm sorry. Okay, and then strum it out. So that would be wanted, hammer, 303D. Then you repeat that tag, really cool hook there, that's their hook. C, C, G, hammer, dead or alive, or in other words, 303D. Back to verse. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Back to verse. It's back to the intro, you can't forget that. What am I saying, right? So after dead or alive, boom, back to the riff. Twice, with anticipation. And this time we don't do 030, so that's the end of the interlude when it goes the back to the verse. Okay? So you get it. So basically then the rest of the song is verse, chorus, and interlude. After the second interlude, you go into a solo, which is over the verse form, right? So then there's a very, awesome D minor sort of pentatonic bluesy solo, which is awesome. Don't have time for it in this video, but it's a great solo. You can, check it out. And that would be something that is happening over the verse. Shows you that over a D major chord, you can play minor pentatonic, especially if it's in a rock modal mixture progression like I mentioned earlier. All right. So after the solo, goes back to a chorus, and I think there's a double chorus. The studio version actually has a longer version besides sort of the music video single version. So there's like a double chorus, at least, maybe even a triple to end the song. Playing along with the song can kind of get you, if you want to play the outro as well, get you there. So that's it. Really fun song. Just, take this as a great challenge to work your technique there, doing that intro. And enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.